recorded as of now. All righty. Well, welcome. This is an overview for AAP services, and I think it will help you, Melissa, at the other end. You're at the 6th grade end, right? She's in 6th grade. And then the 2nd grade. What? I'm sorry. What did you say, Melissa? Did you say she is in 6, right?
Sorry, the life of a multitasking parent. I have background noise and I went to say something and then other people were chatting, so I apologize.
No
Just please continue.
All right. So let me get my screen share here. All right. So just to be sure, are you all seeing the AAP elementary services overview slides?
Yes.
Great. Perfect. Okay, and there's no need for you guys to mute. You're welcome to keep your, or maybe Mr. Hirsch, she's at a soccer thing. I'm just teasing. Hi, Mrs. Drake, how are you?
Good evening, good evening.
So we are here, we are all here. We're just gonna get started. Would you like to jump in and say anything, either Mr. Hirsch or Ms. Drake?
I am just going to say I just left an appointment, so I am showing my camera now, but I will have to transition to my car. So I will be listening and ready to answer questions or support in any way. But for right now, I am transitioning. So thank you so much for coming tonight. We are excited to have you here, and I'm sure you're going to get lots of information. And if you have additional questions for us, don't hesitate to ask.
Excellent. And this definitely is a time for you. So ask questions, interrupt at all points, and make sure there's clarity in what we're saying, just so you're aware. All right, so we're going to move forward. We've got some email addresses on the screen. You are welcome to contact any of us at any time with questions that may come up or arise or needs. So just to kind of begin with, I'm going to just walk you through where you're going to find Schoology, where this recorded session will be found, and where the slide deck will also be found. So just kind of get a feel. Have either of you tackled Schoology yet to find courses?
Unfortunately, not yet. I was so used to the old platform and I'm just starting to get familiar with this one. So I'm not as apt as I was with the old one.
Okay.
Yeah, the same as Melissa, I guess. I'm so used to the previous one, but I was trying to access Schoology and I accessed it, but everything is empty. I don't see nothing, no grading, no course, no assignments. I see calendar and, what's going to happen next, maybe next week. So I don't know if I'm missing something or it's not fully developed. I wasn't sure.
Okay, I'm gonna give you our Michelle Meshover. She'll be here tomorrow. I'm gonna give you her email address. She's a great resource, and she'll help you problem solve to make sure you can get access and see things.
Also, if you have in the last News You Choose, I put a video it's a YouTube video that tells you how to navigate it and how to see certain parts of the Schoology too.
Yep. So there's lots of places for you to find that. Oopsies, I have to go back. Alrighty, so when you do get in, I'll just go through this so it looks familiar when you do find your way. These next few slides will highlight the resources you'll find for AAP within the All Parents Schoology course. So in a nutshell, you're going to have different courses that you're going to be able to access. And this All Parents won't have teachers or students in it. It's specifically for parents. So within this course, it's going to be called All Families. And you're going to log into Schoology courses and then select your All Families icon or box or picture. And once you're in there, you're going to just scroll. You'll see the advanced academic services. So that's kind of the badge you're looking for to find the resources from me. Okay. Once you're there, inside that badge, you'll find a contact Mrs. Fisher button. And that's where my email address will be. And that's where anything about me will be. You're also going to find the AAP Elementary Continuum of Services button, and you're going to find Tier 1 access to AAP curriculum, areas of strength for level 2 and 3 services, full-time AAP information, and information on screen for levels 2 through 4. So that's kind of a good pocket to go if you want to know anything about referring your child or screening. The identification timeline, this is going to be the schedule that was also sent out in News to Choose. It's going to be found here as well. It's the identification schedule for referring your child for level 4 services or level 2 or level 3. Oh, but this is a schedule for 4. And this is a really great button. This is for important forms, and this is linked directly to the Fairfax County website. So this is where you'll find forms for referrals for levels of service, just about anything. So you can just tap into that at some point and browse about. And this is where tonight's meeting is going to be. It's going to be in this meeting resources. The slide deck for this, the unrecorded slide deck will be in the AAP Elementary Continuing Services folder or button. And then we've got the AAP Twitter. So if you want to kind of follow us and see what we're doing, that's there as well. I know that was a lot, but when you do navigate into the initial all families, then you'll be able to kind of explore and feel free to reach out with any questions. Okay, shall I go ahead and go on? All right, I'm going to go ahead and talk to advanced academics in Fairfax County. So this is an overview of different levels of service and kind of the mindset behind it. And then we'll pop in and talk about carbon forest as well. So Fairfax County Schools, here are the beliefs. All children deserve an excellent education. Student investment, educators, parents, and students work together. We have high expectations for all students. And we want to provide opportunities of rigor for all students. So we consider by student by need. So we adapt our levels of rigor to meet the needs of kids. And this, you can go ahead and read it. The definition from Virginia Department of Ed on KIP. So it's kind of cool that we're looking at peers of same age, same experiences, same environment. We're looking at those peers and we're nurturing that potential in our students. And we're looking for those demonstrations that the kids are offering, those demonstrated skills. And we are searching for potential and providing opportunity. So here's our regulation. So not only do we, excuse me, identify students, excuse me, but we provide instruction that meets them at their level and at their need. So there is a local level plan. You're welcome to browse that link at any point. I'm going to pop out of the slide deck because down on the bottom of the note, there are some really good notes. We've captured this slide deck in the PDF version or in the PowerPoint version so that you can have access to those notes as well. And just for clarity, this presentation was created by the Advanced Academics Office and it's going countywide. So everyone's getting the same message and the same information. So those notes on the bottom, take a peek at those when you do look through this. It's pretty valuable. So we have two goals, and we're trying to restructure this in Fairfax County so that it makes sense for all of us. Two goals are to develop talent among our students and then to differentiate to meet the needs of the advanced learners. So we really are focusing on that talent development piece as well as differentiating. If you have questions at any point or you want clarity, just please stop me. So this kind of helps us understand talent development a little bit more. What that really means in Fairfax is we have instructional opportunities. So we have entry points for AAP curriculum strategy. These entry points are embedded in our pacing guides that we use to create our lessons. So it's very intentional and it's very, it's across curriculum, it's across grade levels. And then working with students to identify and explore areas of interest. So being intentional to develop those talents, knowing those students, knowing their interests, knowing their abilities, and really tapping into a student by need. And then attention to underrepresented groups through the Young Scholars Model. So we look at those students that may have access that differs from typical. We're looking at those students who are not your representative group within our school culture. And we're being very intentional to bring those young scholars and to nurture their potential with more intensity and more direction. Any questions about talent development? Alrighty, and this is how we differentiate the needs of our learners. We meet the needs of learners and we differentiate within that space. So we look at the students' needs and we go beyond the grade level standards to meet those needs by student and by their particular need. And then we ensure access to differentiated curriculum. So we increase the depth and complexity, we pace differently, and we use scaffolding. So depending on the needs of kids, we really look at the breadth. We don't just go forward with more difficult tasks or more difficult grade level work or beyond our grade level. Always, we also increase the depth and complexity of any tasks, of all tasks. So we also ensure that we have time to work with our kids, work within a similar academic period. So when we do our groupings for classroom, we are very mindful about multiple aspects of student needs. So we're looking at ability levels. We're looking at identification of AAP. We're looking at ESOL levels. We're looking across the board so that all kids have like peers, whether it's academic, whether it's somebody they can connect to on a social level, personal level, socio-economical level, cultural levels. So we really build our classrooms with intention in the spring. So that we've got all of these great opportunities for kids to tap into different abilities to really strengthen and nurture their needs. All right, so this is we're speaking to the continuum of services in Fairfax County. So there's a continuum of services, just kind of leveled services. It doesn't mean that you start at one level and you build slowly. The entry point for students differs. So where they enter is where their needs are going to be best met. And we'll talk about that more when we break the levels of service down. So it's really about knowing the kids, identifying their levels of service, and then working within those levels. And then that's a really great statement. We do believe that talent can be nurtured and developed in all students, and services may change over time. Right. So if we're taking a peek at this, we're looking at, this is the model that we're looking at Fairfax County. We've got Young Scholars Model. So that's all kids K through 12. If they're identified as a young scholar, they're typically receiving level 2 services at a minimum, or level 3 or level 4. And other students that we're intentionally nurturing. And that Young Scholars model is presented to them throughout throughout their years in Fairfax County through 12th grade. Let me see if I can. Let's see if I can present this way. Not easy to see. Let's see, that didn't work out. All right, so the Young Scholars model. Typically what that is we identify students from historically underrepresented populations. So it provides additional opportunities, especially with summer coursework, to nurture that talent and build that confidence. And what we do so well is we identify with the students that they've been identified as a young scholar. Here's what this means for us. Here's what this means for you. Here are the potential that we're nurturing within you, so that they're an equal player and equal partner in their academic journey. This is a video we can watch together. It's a short video. If you'd like to take the time now, I'm happy to do so. If you'd like to tap into that later. Since there's two of you, what do you guys want to do? You want to take a look at this video?
I'm good. We can watch it.
Okay, so let me know if you don't have volume. Can you hear that?
No.
Okay, so probably when I shared, there was something that I needed to say with the mic and about volume. Let me see if I can find that really quickly. Share sound. Let's try that again.
Where we're gonna try to design the best shark for our environment.
The Young Scholars is really about offering early opportunities to students who we know are traditionally underserved in advanced academic programs, making sure they have those opportunities to work with really rich experiences, higher level thinking, so that as they get into middle and high school, they are ready to take the rigorous coursework. The whole key with Young Scholars is to catch them as early as possible. So ideally we would want to get students in the primary grades starting in kindergarten. And it started off in Fairfax as being really something in the elementary schools, but now as those students are going up into secondary schools, we need to be working with them as well. So we do a lot at the younger ages, but we have a lot of vertical articulation with the secondary schools to make sure that those students are still getting support as they go up through the grades, so that we can make sure that they get to college as well. Young Scholars happens all throughout the school year. There are places where the students may meet with the advanced academic resource teacher. It's important for them to have that group together and to think of themselves as young scholars. It becomes part of their identity, and it becomes something that they can lean upon and remember about themselves. During the summer, it gives them even more of an opportunity to go really in depth into something without all the other things that go on during the school year with testing. It really just gives them the opportunity to get deeply into the curriculum and be together as a group. That's so important.
It got stuck, right? So we need to see what you can do to add more energy to your system then.
Science is not always perfect because you have to try other things. Like, you're not sure if it's going to work, but you can do different things to make it work. I wasn't a real fan of science. I liked math, but now science, I think I like science now because it looks interesting.
With the Young Scholars program, they're learning how to work together cooperatively. They're learning how to rethink an idea they might have and think about, well, why didn't it work this time for me? I think sometimes there are kids who have that potential there, and it's not always recognized on test scores and things like that, but someone sees a spark in them and realizes that if that spark can be nurtured, that they can really go a lot farther.
Everything that we're learning right now, we can still take it for 6th grade and then 7th grade and 8th grade. You have to keep trying. You gotta learn from your mistakes. It's pretty cool, and like I have done things that I haven't done before.
Okay, so maybe you want to rethink your design to make it go through the water easier.
The goal of Young Scholars is really to make sure that we're finding success for all students. We want to make sure that we're looking at all of the potential in all of our students and making sure that we capture that and give opportunities so that as they go forward, they will be competitive and they'll be able to be successful in secondary school and beyond.
Alrighty. Can you hear mine? Can you hear me? Oh, perfect. All right, so I'm gonna pop back out of there in case you want access to the notes. So at Cardinal Forest, with our young scholars in grades 3 through 6, we invite them to share in our level 3 program, whether they're identified as level 3 services or not. Just to give them those experiences, that additional experience of 1 hour a week, working with me on advanced curriculum and differentiated curriculum. So it's just yet one more step to be intentional. All right, so then we have our twice exception. Yep, yes.
Question here. She mentioned about summer, so is there a summer program for young scholars?
There is. So we had a summer program at Cardinal Forest last year. And we brought our young scholars were invited into this program. It depends on, well, we try to get all of our young scholars in with availability and need. So there are, I don't know if we're going to have it again next year. Do you know, Ms. Drake, if we're going to follow through with summer school at our school next year?
They typically don't let us know until the summer, but it's something that in the past we've had, and I'm going to petition to have it again.
So is there a criteria for it to be invited for the summer program?
With our young scholars. So we look at our young scholars and invite the young scholars.
So it's not like.
So the criteria is that you have to be identified as a young scholar. And as we look at young scholars, again, we're looking at potential and maybe kids that meet that need. We also, there have in the past at other schools and at our school, we have guessed it depending on the spots, that how many spots they give us.
So it doesn't mean even if the child is identified, it doesn't mean he or she will be invited in the summer school.
Typically they give us enough spots to cover our young scholars.
Okay.
But if we have additional, like if some students don't attend, then we may have an additional opening where a child who's not a young scholar yet could be invited.
I got you. All right, thank you.
So we have our twice exceptional students. They have exceptional abilities and learning challenges as well. So all students are met at their ability level and their need and offered services that nurture that potential and help them grow academically. So now we're going to talk about the levels of services in grades K through 6. So we've got in elementary school, we've got multiple opportunities. We've got tier 1 or level 1 services, which are services for all students, and that's the rigor that we push into the class for all students, and that can be found in the pacing guide. That is what we pull on when we create our lessons. And we've got differentiated services, and we'll talk more about this in a moment, but we look at the strengths of a specific child and match those needs, whether it's a math strength, a reading strength, or both. And those lessons they plan with the advanced academics teacher, and typically the classroom teacher delivers those lessons or we co-deliver. And then we've got the part-time advanced academics, it's level 3 services, and those are typically a pull-out once a week, 1 hour with myself as an advanced academics resource teacher, and we tap into those curriculum We only work through differentiated curriculum when we're together. And then full-time, we've got level 4 services, students can go to the center. If they're identified as level 4, we also have a local level 4, so we have the same curriculum. As the center schools, our makeup of class size, our class makeup may differ. We don't necessarily have to have all children identified as level 4. We can have students identified as level 2, 3, or tier 1 as well in that makeup, but we follow that course with level 4. So we'll talk a bit more about those levels. All right, so level 1 students, all students have opportunities to think critically, to reason, and to problem solve. We bring those opportunities intentionally into the classroom for students. Those are the critical and creative thinking strategies as well, and we embed those in all our lessons. And then the teachers use advanced academics curriculum each quarter. So we are tasked with using advanced curriculum each quarter, and we have specific curriculum that we are attached to, just so that we have opportunities across the board. Do you have questions about level 1 services for all students? It's just access for all. All right, so these are some of our critical thinking strategies. So we use visualization, plus minus or interesting, encapsulation. So our lessons would encapsulate and have the kids kind of grab the gist of the message and share and expand their understanding of others. We've got question, point of view, decisions and outcomes, analogies, mind map, and then what we call FOFI is fluency, originality, flexibility, and elaboration. So these are strategies that we weave into our curriculum. And so kids, it's really driving the wonder and having kids dig deeper in the way that they share their understanding and even the questions they ask for themselves as advocates for the learning. This is some of the curriculum. We do a lot with Jacob's Ladder. We have math curriculum. It's so we've got n squared, which is for the younger grades. And we've got n cubed, which is mentoring mathematical minds. And this is just all about reasoning, justifying, and understanding mathematical concepts, and really working through and sharing their understanding with others. So all students, as I've said, in Fairfax County will receive level 1 services with that intentional rigor. There's no process for referral for these levels of service. And this is one way we give access to all. Have any questions about level 1 services?
Chris, I just want to make a quick comment.
Yes.
That I know that families are always asking what can we do at home to make sure that our students are, creatively thinking, critically and creatively thinking. And you just made a statement about that justification piece. That is huge. A lot of parents say, oh, my child can do multiplication. And that's wonderful if they're a younger student, but can they express the why behind the computation? Can they tell you, they might be able to read, a chapter book, but can they identify with the characters and other things?
And we've got resources that will help out. So like what we're doing is we're sharing resources with our classroom teachers, such as we're using bookmarks that help to drive that wonder and delve deeper. And those are offered. I'm not positive where the teachers are going to place them, but somewhere in your materials in your Schoology classrooms, they'll be there. And we'll send out an email when they're in place that is easily found. But those bookmarks help kind of structure your conversations around what they're reading or what they're working through, to just kind of give those kids a chance to justify, to tap into unknowns, to make those connections. So that's just one way that we can offer all children an opportunity to justify it, because that's Ms. Jake's right on. That's key. Doing, but now talking about it and understanding it, as well as teaching others.
Thank you for
So-
bringing that up, Ms. Hurst. This is Melissa, by the way. I'm sorry. We do the same thing at home, and I'm so glad that you brought that up. We actually have a mother-daughter book club where we are reading the same things at the same time and talking about that. And I'm so glad that that was one of the topics that you just discussed. And I was looking to think of other ways that we could bring that to home as well.
Awesome. So those bookmarks will be available. We'll make sure you get them into your hands. And the bookmarks are actually organized by like characters or setting, relationships. So I think you'll find it very valuable. All right, so moving into level 2 services a little bit further. So this is where we see strengths typically in one or more subject area, and we nurture those subject areas. So the classroom teachers are aware of which students are receiving or are eligible for level 2 services. The great thing about this is those teachers are delivering that content or that curriculum to all students. The small group may be at a different level. If it's a Socratic seminar, the discussion may land and sound different in each small group. For example, the Jacob's ladder, the ladders or the structure we use, the tasks within the ladder might vary in degree of difficulty depending on the makeup of the group of students or the learners. But the great news is that all students can tap into those ladders. All students can tap into those seminars. So when you have students receiving level 2 services in the classroom, the entire classroom benefits. Not only we don't only grade in for level 1 services, but more intentionally as well for level 2. And level 2 services go through 6th grade as well, or through 8th grade.
One question here. So where is there a level where students are called young scholars? Is it level 1? Is it level 2? Is it level 4? Or
so a young scholar doesn't have a level attached other than they're receiving level 2 services and possibly level 3. So it's by student by need, level 4 as well. Some students, we nurture that potential, we identify and nurture as young as we can. So some of our kindergartners coming in are identified as young scholars, and level 2 services is identified in K1 and 2, not level 3. So they'll be receiving those level 2 services and be nurturing through that lens. So the young scholars identification, that stays no matter what level of the services they receive.
I got you. And then on level 2, if I'm not mistaken, I asked this question during open house. So it's a once a month thing. If I understand correctly, what I was told is once a month, the advanced teacher will come in and pull the child out and give.
No. I'll check in and see how that message was relayed. So typically it's even more frequent than that the child will have access to enriched curriculum. So if the teachers are planning together, I go into their CLTs, I push in resources for them. So whenever it lands. So I've been in 3rd grade, for example, multiple times, 1st grade multiple times, 6th grade, we're working with the Socratic seminar and Jacob's ladder. We're working with Jacob's ladder and 4. So it depends on in their curriculum where these resources land well. When I push into either co-teach or co-plan, so there are multiple access points. Once a month would only really limit us. So I'm in more than I'm pulling groups out, other than level 3 services. And that also builds the capacity of our classroom teachers. So when they're involved in the lessons and they're involved in the planning, their capacity, their awareness, and their understanding of curriculum builds, and they use that more frequently.
Okay, I got you. So the assignments and the curriculum, even if you're not there, even if it was a different teacher, the advanced teacher has inputs as to the type of assignments the level 2 student is being given.
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely. So the classroom teachers have their workload, and then because I am a specialist, now they can apply through my lens and through my understanding and my expertise, something more rigorous. So I can bring to them and do PD with them and help them implement and deliver. Like you said earlier, the more hands in the pot, the better the stew. So that's the great news. They're doing their teaching, and then the other piece of that is their pacing guide kind of says, pause, this is a great place for rigor. They send me a quick email, here's where I am, we get that rigor planned out and going, and we push it in that spot that is a good fit.
Got it. I'm sorry, one more question.
No, please.
Last year, in the previous website, I already forgot. Is it
Google
Classroom?
Mm-hmm.
There is Ms. Fisher, critical thinking, and everything was clear there. We can, as a parent, I can, help her focus on that. Did you finish this assignment and so forth? But now I don't know what's going on. So at open house, I say, what is going on? She was identified as level 2, but I don't know what's going on. And someone told me we will not start anything until the second month. And then after the second month, it will be once a month. Someone will pull her out. And obviously now you clarified that thing, in which I'm very happy that it's more frequent than once a month. But how can I help? Because how can I see what's going on? What is she working on? How can I help?
That's a great question. So I did build the Google Classroom where the students can go in and work independently. And I also built a website in the classroom where the teachers can pull directly from. So I'm in the point of transitioning the materials from Google Classroom into the Schoology classes. We're building at this point, it's the student all course. We're building different buttons that the children can go in and work independently. So all of that same thinking and those opportunities that you're hoping for are going to land. So it's going to be technology, music. We have all of our specialists contributing. So you've got the lens of music, physical education, art, tech, library, critical thinking, and that's going to be a place where students are going to go. It is live now, but it's not filled yet. I've put a lot of things in there so far for advanced academics, but it's not going to say critical thinking. I put some things into STEAM, and I put some things into monthly activities. So you'll find that spot. I'll definitely talk to the classroom teachers to make sure that we're sharing that pathway so it becomes more and more familiar. But that's where that stuff is going to transfer over to.
I got you. Okay, that's helpful. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. All right, so moving down, if your child isn't identified for level 2, and we've got you covered, and we've got you covered too, Ms. Grimes, there is a referral form that your child would be, you would refer, and then we would, the classroom teacher, myself, and anybody who works with your child confers, and we look at work samples, we look at child need and which would be the best fit at that time, the best academic fit. And that can change over time. Once identified level 3 services, that isn't removed, but level 2 services is by year. Typically because student abilities can peak and wane, and sometimes their needs can be met in the gen ed classroom with some of those reverse opportunities. Sometimes it needs to be more intentional, and that's when maybe For example, Mr. Hubbard would have a small group with Socratic seminar rather than a class, and that's where she would fit in the end. Alright. So level 3 services, this is where multiple subject areas are, the kids are working through multiple subject areas through the differentiated curriculum provided. This is where I have a Schoology course for level 3 services, and that's where the kids go through, and that's where we work through. And we bring in, so we're starting, for example, with creating the words I'm thinking of websites, but that's not what we call it, but a portfolio. It's called in Schoology. So they're building a portfolio to showcase their learning and their growth over time. So they're intentional, and what they're putting into their portfolio is completed academic projects. And then over the course of the career in Fairfax County, that portfolio remains, and they can start seeing how they've changed and grown, and how they can apply their understanding and thinking or their strategies and then just increase. That's just kind of a landing spot for all the great thinking. And we're moving into document-based questions, which is a way to study history in a way that is engaging and question-based, and they look at primary and secondary documents and really delve into it. So, for example, in grade 3, they're looking at ancient Egypt, and they just look at it through the lens of somebody who is within that time period and exploring all of those events and all of those things that went on during that time. So that's where the pullout begins, really in grade 3. Now, to be fair, the models can vary. If we have opportunity to pull out level 2 into groups, we certainly will. It's not unheard of, and it's something we have definitely done in the past. So it's just not on a time scale. So it's just any opportunity we have, we grab. So level 3 is more intentional with the 1 hour, as well as within the classroom. So level 3 services is also through referral, whether it's teacher referral or parent referral based. We look at the work samples and we make those decisions. Because it's school-based, we don't need to have any formal documentation. We don't need to have a formal file that's kept over time. We do have to have a formal file for level 4 services. Are there any questions about level 3 services?
Forgive me if I miss, if you already answered this question, but the difference between level 2 and level 3, is it more frequently the AAP?
No, I would think of it more in addition to. So if the child's receiving, or it's identified for level 3 services, they are still getting the benefits of all the curriculum that's pushed into the classroom for those level 2 learners and for all of the peers in that classroom. In addition, they're being pulled out with more intensity and more intention and more focus and more direction from the expertise of the AOT. So it's in addition, and it's 1 hour a week. And then the expectation is that when they move back into their gen ed setting, they they're not making up work. I don't mean to say that, but they are able to find where they left off and to work independently as needed to also complete any tasks within the classroom that they may have missed. So for example, I don't mean like a worksheet that the class did while it was gone, but maybe an ongoing project, a PBL, a project-based learning. If the kids were settling in their group work and exploring, they just kind of tap in with their group and they say, hey, you know, here's where I left off. Where do I need to join them? If that makes sense.
Yes, it does. Thank you.
So then we have our full-time in Fairfax County, and the full-time levels of service is also by referral. And that referral is starts in 2nd grade. So students within the 2nd grade setting can refer for level 4 services. Level 4 services starts in grade 3. So grades 3 through 8 receive level 4 services. And that is all content area, and that is an advanced curriculum, so they're not entering their learning in a general curriculum, they're entering their learning in an advanced level curriculum where all the resources, all the curriculum is through the advanced initiative. And of course, if a child is identified level 4 eligible and they still have needs that need to be met, the needs are met by need by child. So if they're below grade level in language arts, they'll reach that access, they'll have that access so that they have that understanding and that small group instruction based on the need within that level 4 setting. So there's a screening schedule. It wouldn't apply to either of you. Actually, it may apply. The fall level, the fall screening, the due date is October 7th, and that's if you are new to Fairfax County after January of last year. If you're new and you would like to refer for level 4, you can refer by October 7th. If you are a current student and you want to refer for level 4, the deadline is December 15th. And there will be more information. We are actually going to have another presentation solely around level 4 services at a later date. And there is a testing and identification timeline on Fairfax County's website. So this is a little bit about the ability testing, and this is just one part of what's looked at with screening. So best practices matches the students to the services that is best for them. So we look at the whole child or a holistic view. So for example, COGAT or Magnet testing is just one data point, just one thing that we look at in the portfolio of things. So it's not weighted any more or less in that portfolio. So work samples, teacher recommendation, teacher input. We do that through something called GBERS. It's a gifted behavior grading scale. So anyone working with your child has insight, they share that with the team based on the best fit academically for that student. So continuing with ability testing, we have the COGAT test. This information will go in a few different platforms. It'll be in Schoology in that Parent All course. It's sent through News You Choose, and you can find it on the Fairfax County website as well. And some dates will be on our website as well. So just taking a peek at this, all students in grade 2 and grade 3 will take the COGAT due to the COGAT not being offered last year. And the one-time test option for the Magnet area or COGAT is available this school year. The COGAT deadline has passed. That was a September 15th deadline, but the retest for the Magnet area is October 15th. And second graders have not yet taken the COGAT.
Is it part of the things like when we apply for level 4, is the test result be part of the package?
It is.
So if so really if it's the deadline is December 15th, so the result for the second grader for the cognitive ability test is it should be done within October.
It should be done. So here's the deal. If you'd like to refer for level 4 services and you do not have the results back, refer before the deadline. Those results will be added into the file. And because they're just one piece of that holistic view, they will be placed in there as we collect other data and other evidence. The NAG area will also be placed in there if the child has it. They just need one abilities test score. You can also opt for private testing. You can get private testing through George Mason. There is a fee for that though. So they will be tested. So any older child who's referring to level 4, they have the COGAT as well, or they're given the COGAT in the fall if they don't have it.
What about this, the NNAT test? Has it been tested already?
The NAGLARI is given in first grade.
In first grade, okay. Is that the
so-
iReady or is it something different?
No, it's different. It's also an abilities test.
Okay, so they have already taken that as a first.
They have, Mr. Hirsch, am I speaking correctly? Oh, he's not here. Mr. Drake, do you know, I don't want to speak out of turn, but was the NNAT given in first grade last year for certain?
Say that one more time, please, Chris.
Was the NNAT given to first graders last year in that chaotic year? I believe it was.
The NNAT was given, the COGAT was not.
Correct. So our second graders did not take the COGAT, but our first graders did take the NNAT.
Okay, because I don't remember, because it was online, the only thing that I was aware of was the iReady. Is there a way to find with the
There
test?
is. It should be in your parent view and SIS, I believe. I will check into that and let you know. I'll definitely let you know how you can access that.
Okay, the test results?
Yes.
Okay.
And remember, that's just one lens. We know that not all students test well. We know that doesn't capture their abilities.
Okay.
So it's just part of the puzzle.
Is iReady, what is that? I mean, is it part of this thing?
No, the iReady is really given so that the classroom teachers know at which level to instruct students and at which it's all part of meeting the children at their needs and ability level, yes, but it doesn't play a part in one of the abilities tests within the screening.
I see. So the two tests are the ones that are contributing, the NNAT and the what is it, cognitive ability test.
Right, because those two are normed ability tests. So no matter which county you take it in Virginia, that test will transfer up. I'm not positive actually about the NNAT, the COGAT for sure. I'm not positive about the NNAT.
Okay, then I'll
Mr. Hirsch is our testing coordinator. He's got all the right answers and he would be the one to contact with all of those great questions.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, so I'm Chris Fisher, so this is a good contact for me. And then all these, here's Mr. Hirsch's email address as the testing coordinator, and he would answer those questions. This is the AAP office is also a great valuable resource to answer questions as well. So then we also have a secondary advanced academics program. There's a website link here that gets into it in much more detail. So if there's curiosity about secondary, this is where you would find out. And it actually be a really great lens to take a peek at, so you know what's coming in Fairfax County, so that you become more familiar. And then Fairfax County has the website. It talks about, so you go to fcps.edu and you will search and enter AAP in the field. And that will take you to a wealth of information. And again, this presentation will be put into our parent Schoology, all families, our families on for access. It's also a use you choose, and I can also email you as well.
Thank you so much. It's very helpful. I have a kindergartner. So for that, I can, what is it? Like, I'm sorry, I forgot the English. So I can request, is it?
Refer. So
Okay.
you can refer for level 2 services for kindergarten. And kindergarten is a little tricky, especially at this point in the year. Teachers are really getting to know their kids now. So there's going to be some valuable conversations that we have about best fit for kids. But in the meantime, so I've taken all kindergartners into Cardinal time And we have navigated Schoology with the kids. So we've gotten them into logging on, navigating Schoology. We've got them, put them into Mayan and coding. So they have been amazing navigating. So don't forget to tap into your kids as well, to ask them to help you go through Schoology and navigate through their coursework. We were very intentional with K&1, first and second, or kindergarten and first grade, this quarter to work with those kids so that they have kind of a solid foundation. But yes, the referral would be a level 2. The form actually says level 2/3. It's the same form. But they would be looking at level 2. So I know that the kindergarten classes are working with, we're working with Jacob's Ladder. And so we're going to offer that to students. We're working with it at this point, we're planning it, so that'll be coming soon for all kids for sure. We work with coding and we're working with project-based learning to really get them to consider their environment through the lens of scientists. So there's a lot coming down the pike and a lot that we're working on to capture some of that potential.
Hey, Christina, thanks you so much for doing this. I'm Mohammed. I have one quick question.
Sure.
Where and how can we send this referral form? I know we have really short time. 7th is like next Wednesday. So and to make sure you get it as soon as we can.
So who's your child in what grade?
Sarina Talib, she's in 2nd grade.
Okay, so 2nd grade, the referral, you have the December 15th deadline. So you're not looking at, are you speaking about the level 4 referral?
Yes, I'm talking about
So your window for level 4 is actually December 15th, because 2nd graders do not go into a level 4 curriculum. It needs to happen in 3rd grade anyway. So there's no early referral for you. In the meantime, you can look into level 2 referrals or level 3 referral, but level 3 also begin for next year. So you've got some time. You are welcome to fill out that level 4 at any point and submit it, and that comes to me. Just so you know, you've got that referral in by the deadline.
So we email you the form once we fill up, right?
You can email it to me. You can send it into the classroom teacher.
Okay.
Either way.
Thank you so much. And
You're
then
welcome.
level 2, like where we can get the form for those level 2?
The level 2 as well. I will drop the forms in the chat.
Okay.
Let me see if I can. Let me see if I can move the screen out of my way. Maybe I can, maybe I can't.
Also, I know you send this recording letter. Do you know if we can get access to these slides also, or?
Yes, so the slides are going to be available in, the slides are going to be available in our Schoology coursebook, which is, actually, I'm going to stop sharing my screen so I can share some of these links with you. All right, let me. Okay, I'm going to specifically look for. Looking for forms specifically for you. All right, so I'm just going to drop in the chat. This is the level 4 referral form.
Yeah, I think I got level 4 from fct.edu, like
Yes.
the website, but I was looking for level 2 and 3. Is it the same place I can look, or?
Yeah, so just here's level 4 and then level 2 and 3. Okay. That in chat as well. This is for level 2 and 3. Those look really similar. Let me know when you click on that. I think that's level 2 and 3. All right, so those are the links, and then If you go into News You Choose, there is this presentation is available there as well. It's also going to be available in your in the Schoology. I'm going to pop back in and present this again, share the screen and just show you really quickly.
If you don't mind, one more time, what is the due date for level 2 and 3 for?
So that's a great question. There is no due date for level 2, 3. It's typically you typically refer one time in the school year. You can definitely refer multiple times if you feel there's been growth that you would like to first take a closer look at. So you would refer, and then we would talk as a team and really find the best academic fit for your child. And that can happen, since it's school-based, it can happen at any point of the school year. We do in May, we on purpose look at every single child. We look at their grades, we look at their abilities test scores, we look at their work samples. And we as a staff look at each child because not everybody refers, and we don't want to miss any opportunity to identify specific levels of service to kids. So that happens in May. But outside of that May window, those referrals can come anytime.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And if you take a peek at the screen, within this Schoology course, it's called All Families. This is where you're going to find this presentation. So there's an advanced academics button. And within there, you're going to find this presentation in this AAP elementary button. So right here is where this presentation will be, but this recorded presentation, you're going to find in this AAP meetings resource. So these resources here will have any recorded information. This important forms, this is where you're going to find the AAP site with level 2, level 3 forms, level 4 forms. Any forms you need in regards to AAP will be found in this. So we're going to be intentional in sharing where to find this in Schoology, how to get into Schoology. It's in News You Choose, and we're just trying to really share it as often as possible. Make sure you reach out to your classroom teachers as well for guidance on how to get to where you need to be.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Do you recommend referring for level 3, even if we already referred them for level 4?
That's a great question. So when a referral comes through for level 4 services, as we gather our evidence, as we gather our abilities test scores and the jibbers, which is where all the teachers have input on the strengths of the child, we also look if a best fit might be level 3 or level 2. Because that's such an intensive package, we typically make our decisions. If this child's not found eligible for level 4, we feel level 3 services is a great fit. Level 4 services lands outside, the decisions land outside of our Cardinal Forest school. We compile all of the work and we take those packets and we do our best work to collect the best thinking and evidence from the child. And then we forward it to the county. And then there is hundreds of teachers, administrators, specialists, people within the AAP office, and they look at those packets and we pass them through this great big auditorium and we screen them and find the eligibility in that. And I can't look at any packets from my school and same goes for other schools. So those lines are fresh. We just compile the best packets we can to represent the abilities of our students. So yes, because that's so intensive, we also then consider level 3. So if you're referring for 4, just know we're looking for 3 and 2.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions or thoughts?
I expected a lot more questions has been answered because I was expecting a lot of people to come, and I didn't want to take the whole
Yeah. So you, please feel free to email me directly with anything that comes to mind.
Okay.
All day long, any day, it doesn't matter, that's my job. So anything that comes to mind, or send them to your classroom teacher, Mr. Hubbard will just forward them to me, and then work with me in getting those accurate answers as well. Just like we're sending you to Mr. Hirsch for the testing expertise. So that's kind of, we share the wealth in our building and we send it to the right people. So any questions, ask.
Thank you so much. There'll be lots of questions once you ask some, but thank you so much for doing this.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome. All right, so if that's it, you are free to relax and enjoy your evening. Hopefully your kiddos will be in bed soon and you'll have some time to yourselves.
Okay, thank you so much, Ms. Fisher.
so
Have a
welcome.
good night.
Have a beautiful evening.
Okay, bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.
Chris, thank you.
You're so welcome. I'm finding the stop recording button.
Okay.
Somewhere. I'm not really I'm not positive where I'm gonna find it. Maybe when I end.
Always
Oh, I
have
found
trouble
it.
with